You can just start by saying your name, your year, and your pronouns.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Dinero. I'm a first year, and I go by he, him.
Alright, so your first question is, what are the 5 pillars of KP and how will you ensure that the interns support all pillars? What ideas do you have in mind?
There's the social, political, cultural. I'm blanking on the other two, but what was the second half of the question? Yeah.
What ideas do you have in mind?
I really want to reiterate and reinforce like the importance of cultural and political, because I think a lot of like with any college club, the social pillar always comes first when new people approach it, and I feel like cultural and political are more important than social in a lot of ways. Although social does play a part in like bringing community together, I think there's a lot more impact to be made through cultural and political pillars.
Next question is like a scenario type question. So your co-internship has not done their share of the work to prepare for this week's internship meeting. This is the 3rd time this quarter that they have gave you an unbalanced workload. How do you handle this situation?
Since it'd be the 3rd time, I would politely ask them the reason, not like pressing necessarily, but just just to get context as to why it would be like the 3rd time in the quarter, and just politely ask them to continue to hold themselves accountable as co. Yeah.
So your next question is, with KP moving forward towards a safer environment, how will you ensure that there are no negative power dynamics, not only within the KP internship space, but the KP space in general? What will you personally do to continue making KP a safe space and a welcoming space for everyone?
Firstly, for internship specifically, I know a lot of people, and including me at first, had emphasized first years being interns, but I remember we had a talk about how anyone can apply to be an intern, including transfers in 2nd, 3rd, 4th years, and I feel like we should encourage that more, because I feel like with the diversity of years or transfers between interns, I feel like there would be a good mix of ideas shared compared to as almost all entirely first years. And I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. With KP moving towards a safer environment, how will you ensure that there are no negative power dynamics, not only within the KP internship space, but the KP space in general? What will you personally do to continue making KP a safe and welcoming space for everyone?
I personally have trouble just going up to someone new and just talking to them, but moving forward, I do want to branch out in that way, just get to know more people and be more outgoing and more friendly, because I feel like I could be very reserved, but I guess just being more inclusive in general, not just restricting myself to have friends that are only first years, and just meeting people in the space in general, and like making connections to other people, like referring people to other people, like, oh, you would get along with this person. I feel like that would help a great bit.
Internship for the first 2 years followed a very similar formula. The past few years is where things were a little different. How do you plan on changing up internship if you were given the position?
I guess circling back to diversity between the interns, I'd like to see more of a mix between transfers in second, third, and fourth years compared to just majority first years. Although majority first years is what's the word? Is beneficial. I think having a diversity of ideas and collaborations between people from other corners of life I would put that above like the importance of cohesiveness that majority first year interns would bring. But yes.
There have been previous complaints that internship has been both too much and not enough was taken out of it to justify the experience. How do you ensure that the interns gain meaningful experience and knowledge from the program while also preventing burnout?
I would just reassure everyone that the co-coordinators are there for them, not just as co-coordinators, but also as fellow students, as friends. If they ever need to talk about anything, if they have any feedback on internship in general or towards us, I would always encourage feedback and even critiques as well. I would encourage critiques very much because with critiques, only improvement could be found there. You know?
Okay, so you have answered all your 5 questions, but you do still have some time. Are you willing to answer another question?
Yes.
Due to the abundant workload that the internship coordinator position can potentially have, tell us how you'll be able to balance other extracurriculars and your position.
I realized that the internship co-coordinators do have a lot of work compared to other positions, since it's like consistent throughout the year and it's very structured. I feel, but I feel as though I would thrive in that sort of structure, because if I had too much freedom in a position, not just in KP but just in general, if I had pretty much nothing to work off of, I would just get lazy. But having a structure and just a timeline to follow, like throughout the year, would help me improve not only as a person but like academically, and just socially as well. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
So, due to the abundant workload that the internship coordinator position can potentially have, tell us how you'll be able to balance other extracurriculars and your position.
Me personally, since I'm a music major, I have a lot of performances, and since it's like that, I guess the way it works for me, I always have like a couple weeks, like in advance of knowing when I would have like a gig or a performance. So I would always like mark it in my calendar or Google Calendar, and just always stay on top of whatever I need to do or have to do. And just because with my work in like music, it's very like we always play it by, well, not always, but most of the time play it by ear. Like we don't get details like until like the day of. Like for example, today I have a gig actually at the Loft later tonight, and we had a problem because we didn't have a drum set, and we were trying to figure it out like a couple hours ago, but we were very scared because if we didn't have a drum set, we wouldn't be able to perform. But we did manage to ask one of the other bands if they would allow us to use theirs, and they did. So thankful for that. But just constant communication between, if I were to have the position between the co-coordinator and even the interns as well. Like, I doubt there would be much what's the word? Contradictions, like schedule-wise. But just constant communication and just planning is what I would say is essential for that.
And so you completed all of the questions. You have like about 3 minutes left. Did you have any questions for us?
I don't think so.
All right. And you're all done.